what stops you from shooting video is what stops you from greatness in every area of your life. Welcome to the Tom Ferry Show. I get asked this question all the time, and I'm sure you do too. Hey Tom, looking back in your career, is there anything you would do differently to further your success? And the answer is 1000% yes. In 2007, I was on the golf course with a buddy of mine and a pal of his who happened to work at a little company called Google. When I met this guy, David, I said, "What do you do?" And he said, "Well, if you've ever been to the home screen of Google, I'm in charge of that." I was like, wait a minute. You're in charge of the entire home screen for Google? Everything that you see, what's coming next? He said, yes. And he said, tell me about your business. I said, I do real estate seminars, I coach people professionally, and I create content. And the guy from Google said, you create content? What kind of content do you create? And I said, well, I've been blogging. And he said, that's really good. And then I told him that I had just worked on a deal with, you ready for this? BlackBerry, to do audio podcasts in 2007 exclusively for real estate agents. Remember BlackBerries, right? And he said to me, podcasts are stupid. Now, of course, today he probably wouldn't say that, but in 2007, I had already shot about 60 different, audio podcast messages, and we were about to go live with this. And the guy from Google, basically the wizard of Google, told me that's a bad idea. Well, in that moment, I didn't feel rejected. I didn't feel dejected at all. I said to him, what do you recommend? He said, we just bought a company called YouTube. Are you familiar with it? When people say to me, Tom, looking back in your career, what would you have done differently? The answer is really the answer I would give Candace Decker to this question.
Hey Tom, it's Candace Decker. My question for you is, should I continue doing DIY videos or should I go all in and hire a full-time videographer and content creator? Thanks.
So Candace, in answer to your question, and it's really what I want to talk about today, I would have gone all in and hired a videographer from day one. I would argue that today it's one of the most important things that any agent can do, specifically if your desire is to become relevant, respected, and referred by a lot of people in your marketplace. Think about it like this. Over the last couple of weeks, we've talked about trust, right? How familiarity and frequency and being your authentic self and bringing relevant content to people in a wide variety of methodologies, whether it's your database or open houses or geographic farms. What we know today is it's the power of this, my friends. It's the power of this, getting us in front of more people using the one medium that Google's telling us today, 88% of all consumers are consuming content in the form of video today. Think about it, just 3 or 4 years ago, if you went to CNN or Fox News or whatever flavor you choose for a news channel, or you went to ESPN, we used to read a lot of blogs. Today, when you go to any one of those apps or any one of those websites, what do? You're consuming video, you're seeing it and experiencing it. And I would argue, my friends, I want you to do the same. So Candace, for you and for all my friends out there, I want to talk to you about creating your own show. So today, I want you to become the trusted source, just like I've done in my business, by creating your own video show and displaying it on all the different social networks. So what I'm going to share with you now is a formula for how we've done it, and then 7 or 8 different strategies, different samples of shows that you can do so you can become that trusted source. You can be that one that they say, I know you, I like you, I understand you, right? And they've never even talked to you, but they understand who you are, what you stand for, and what you do, and they select you as their trusted source. That's what I want from this strategy. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do, and you see the 5 things there on the screen, is number 1, decide on a theme for a show. And there's so many different themes. Lessons you learned from real estate. Here's everything happening in our community. We're going to go into all of them today. Number 2, you want to name your show, right? You see mine, The Tom Ferry Show. My show prior to this was called Life by Design that I started back in 2010 with the launch of that book. So by naming the show, you're again creating familiarity and a brand. Number 3, going back to Candace's question, I recommend finding a wedding videographer, someone that is used to filming a lot, but probably only working on the weekends, which means, one day a month, they could absolutely spend 6, 7, 8 hours with you, helping you create 4 to 5 shows that can be produced every single month, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. You see number 4, it says, set aside 1 to 2 days a month, just 1 day a month in front of a camera, and you're gonna create so much good content, and I'm gonna tell you everything you're gonna do with it. And then the last thing, number 5, is you make sure you allow that videographer to use their great eye to edit and produce that content into something of high quality. So Candace, some people say to me, well, Tom, I kind of love doing that stuff myself. Chris Kwan, we'll link up some Chris Kwan stuff here. Chris Kwan's a great client, dear friend, right here in Orange County, California. Chris loves to get behind the camera and he loves to edit and he loves to produce. You know what though? He has the skill. I would not recommend at this point in your career, Candace, if it's not something that you have efficiency at, great skills at. If you don't, outsource it. And I might argue Chris's love for it certainly shows up, and I look at what my team's able to produce, their love for it also shows up. So you got to find that. Is it going to be an outsource, or are you the kind of person that can absolutely do it? Only you know. Now, those are the basics. Decide the theme, name the show, and then find that wedding videographer, which is super easy to do. Then, in terms of content, like what should you cover? People ask me this question all the time. Tom, you always have something to say on these shows. You seem so natural. Well, it's because I take the time to think about you. I take the time to think about the problems in the market. I take the time to think about what I could do to further your career, keep you ahead of the curve, etc. I would argue you should do the same. Let's walk through 7 different types of shows that could help you become that recognizable force in your marketplace while providing that thing that everybody talks about, value. Providing value to prospects and people that you already know. So the first show is a very easy one. It's called a monthly market update. So you might say, here's the monthly market update for Orange County, California, for New York City, for the Lower East Side, for Philadelphia, whatever city you're in, and think about that from an SEO standpoint. If I'm going to upload that video on YouTube, and every single month for several years, I'm going to be doing a monthly market update where I'm talking about how many homes are on the market and how many homes have sold and what's the new average sales price and what's the sales price per square footage, how many expireds, etc. And I'm educating my customers just like someone would on the news in 2 to 3 minutes max, telling them everything they need to know to stay informed, to make good decisions, and remember, thinking of you as the trusted source. So let's take a quick example of Becky Barrick, our great client from up in Washington, doing it live on Instagram.
Hey everybody, this week on 60 Seconds with Becky Barrick, let's talk values in real estate in Western Washington. We are seeing major increases, of course, across the board in all counties, but what's crazy is Pierce County has seen tremendous growth. We are way above the peak of before the market crashed back in '08.
So that was just a great little taste of what Becky's doing. If you noticed right there on Instagram, it said that there were 78 views when we burned that copy. Now you might say, oh my goodness, Tom, what if I shot a video like that where I'm educating people on the market and there's only 78 views? My response to you is, how long would it take you to knock on the door and talk to 78 different people? How long would it take you to make 78 contacts and actually have a conversation with people? The answer is hours and hours and maybe even days. And yet, while Becky is asleep, 78 people watch that. While Becky was listing and selling real estate or taking care of her beautiful family or in her garden, 78 different people recognize that Becky Barrick knows those 2 marketplaces and is sharing the information, and that's exactly what you want to do on a monthly basis. Let's look at the second type of show. We call it interviews, or where you're sharing tips. So you can see there on the slide, we want to interview the school principal, a restaurant owner, a coffee house owner, a local brewery, an architect, a home builder, your loan officer. And by interviewing all these people or sharing tips, you get two advantages. First, you're the educator with the tips. Secondly, you get positive brand association. So you imagine you interview the best restaurant in town and the manager is chummy with you and you two are hamming and egging and having a good time talking about how she started the restaurant, what was the origin, tell me about your parents, what's your favorite meal, and you know what? Everyone that likes that restaurant is gonna have a more positive association with you because you did the interview. And in the case of the tips, here's our great client, Kyle Whistle, who, by the way, won Video Influencer of the Year with BombBomb, where he talks about all the best restaurants in his town. Let's take a look.
Where is the Tower of Babel in East County? We're here at Happy Time Mediterranean Restaurant to find it. East County Eats is all about showing you the coolest restaurants in and around East County. I'm Kyle Whistle with Whistle Realty, and this is East County Eats.
Now, certainly, Candace, you can see the production quality between those two. Is one better than the other? I would argue they're both fantastic. Becky, no microphone, just talking to the camera about what's going on in the market, and Kyle with his sunglasses walking up to this great restaurant, gonna tell you all about it. Both are highly effective. Now, the third type of show you want to consider is did you know shows. As a real estate professional, a loan officer, someone in the escrow business, the insurance business, you have so many insights and lessons. I would argue that if you're not sharing those in some way, shape, or form with all of your prospects and all of the people in your sphere, you're missing the opportunity to demonstrate your expertise, to demonstrate your integrity, to demonstrate your ability to serve clients and solve complex problems. Let's just take a little snippet from Tom Toole, one of our great clients in Philadelphia, where he's educating people on a specific part of the real estate transaction.
Welcome back to Tom's Take. I'm Tom Toole. He is one of our amazing team members, Sean Samoji. And what I love about working in a team environment is that you get things and you talk about stuff at meetings, and all of a sudden that sparks another idea from somebody else, and then it turns into something great, and it's collaborative. And that's exactly what we're talking about here when it comes to final walkthroughs.
Again, higher production quality, fantastic job, Tom. You can also see with the Did You Know shows, could you do a show that says, did you know you could buy a home for as little as 3% down? Where you're educating people on what's happening with financing options. What about educating people if the rates drop, that now is the time to refi? What a powerful thing you could do as a real estate professional to be educating your customers on what's going on in the market or in the world of housing, again, making you the trusted source. So let's look at the fourth type of show. We call these About Town. Similar to what you saw with Kyle, where you're showing people restaurants, in this case, you can talk about everything that's going on in your area. You could talk about your favorite parks. You could talk about carnivals, festivals. You could talk about new restaurants. The options are so plentiful. What this does, though, ultimately, is it shows that you're a part of the community, that you're connected to the community, and you just might be introducing everyone you know and your prospects that are watching about something they didn't know about. Once again, making you the expert. Let's take a look at what DJ and Lindsay are doing there in Florida.
Hey everyone, just finished lunch at one of my favorite restaurants that we eat at probably weekly is Mi Carnal here off US 1 in St. Augustine. They are known for their pupusas, which is an El Salvadorian dish, but I typically get the burrito, and Lindsay's always getting the stuffed poblano pepper. Must check out on the list. If you've been here, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. Check you next time.
Now again, you can see with that one, lots of views, and it was about food. Now you might say, well, Tom, how do you make the connection between food and real estate? Well, very simple. If you go to any one of these people's Instagram pages or Facebook pages, you're gonna see that they're doing behind the scenes. They're gonna be doing, here's what's going on in my town. Here's a recent listing. Here's a case study. They're blending all these things together on video with that how's the market show. Believe me, everyone is going to know that you're a high-powered, successful business person and you know the local market. So let's look at number 5. We call it behind the scenes. I love this as an example. The FAR group, what they do is they actually go into a listing presentation as an example where they've now secured the listing and the seller has said, hey, what do you recommend we do to get the home prepared for sale? Watch this video.
I think what I would just maybe grab just a couple more, like maybe even grab 4 more cheap white pillows with white pillowcases, just to kind of like bulk that up and then hold the blanket back. Something really simple like that. I think the pillows actually would be a bigger add than a comforter. If you have the paint, then fill the holes, but just make sure you use a spackle that has primer in it, otherwise the paint will flash when you put it on.
Yeah, we're probably not actually.
If you have the time, I think a white on that side, like 10 right there would be great. I think it's nice to have. I think if I would rather have that than have nothing there. Yeah. No, I think it's fine. Like the color scheme goes great. Well, I mean, it's a kid's room, and people are pretty understanding that. I think it's the nice thing is it still feels like a nice size room. So I personally with Aaron, I'd rather have your garage messier and have like your interior closet space. I'd rather have something open a closet and be like, oh wow, look at all this storage. But yeah, maybe like a mirror or a piece of art like on that back wall.
Yeah.
I love that video because she's like, you should move the lamp over here, though I have to say, I was thinking maybe you should change the color of that wall. What were you thinking? It's an excellent example going behind the scenes in your business, showing people the real work that you do that no one else knows about, that makes you so special, that makes you that trusted advisor. They know that you go above and beyond, you become the one that they want to work with. It's so powerful. The 6th type of video we call neighborhood tours. Now, I got to give an enormous shout out to a longtime friend of mine, Christoph Chu, Coldwell Banker, Beverly Hills. Christoph and I, way back in the day, started shooting videos when he first got introduced to it in 2009 when I started another show. He and I and hundreds of other agents ran out and bought flip video cameras and started shooting shows. And Christoph will tell you, he was 3 years in. Now remember, 2009, 2010, 2011, and he literally said to me, I have been shooting shows, Tom, for 3 years. No one's calling me and saying, I want to buy a house. No one's calling me and saying, this is unbelievable. And I reminded him, Christoph, we're early. We were talking about 2009, 10, 11. That's when like Charlie Bit My Finger and the world famous dancing videos and cat videos. That's what was going on YouTube. Today, YouTube is the 2nd highest searched website on the planet, and most of the people that are going there are looking for information, not to watch Charlie Bit My Finger, if you remember that video. So when he started doing drive time tours, you should go to his YouTube page and check it out. It's unbelievable. He'd take his phone, he'd plug it into his windshield, and he would literally drive through the neighborhood. Well, let's just take a look. Here's a classic example of one of Christoph's videos.
Hi everyone, it's Christoph Chu from Coldwell Banker Previews in Beverly Hills. But today I may or may not be getting in the gates. I'm in the Bel Air area of Los Angeles, an area called Bel Air Crest. Gates are supposed to open anyways. And it's one of our few gated communities here in Bel Air. We have Bel Air Crest, Bel Air Place, Stone Ridge Estate. So there's not many, but there's a few. But this is a really beautiful one and the best gated community in the Bel Air area. There's 2 different sections. We're going to start off in the custom home section.
So at this point, with that video, you now have 6 different strategies, 6 different types of shows that you can shoot and start publishing on a weekly basis to put out enough content so the world knows who you are, what you do, and that you really know the real estate business. Let's take a look at the last one, number 7. I say you show them the authentic you. And that means it's you with your kids, you and your family, you and your spouse, you and your dog, you at church, you socializing, contributing, giving back, or just being a goofball. So one tip I recommend when it comes to a show like this is if you've been selling real estate for 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 years, you could do a show called 30 Real Estate Tips or 30 Real Estate Lessons from 30 years of helping buyers and sellers. Now you might say that's a really long title, but I want people to understand I've been doing this for a long time and I've learned a lot of lessons, and I want to expose them to all of the lessons I've learned so they avoid the mistakes, etc. Here's Carrie White doing it after 16 years.
It inspired me to launch this series, part of Carrie TV, about 15 lessons I've learned after 15 years of being in real estate. Yes, I have been selling condos and homes for 15 years. I worked a little bit before that in real estate, but as a licensed agent. And I want to share a little bit about what that takes. You'd probably be surprised to find out that 87% of licensed agents that get into the business fail. 87%. That's a huge failure rate. I think most people would be pretty surprised to know how challenging real estate is, and there's a whole variety of reasons. So there's a big myth that getting into real estate, you just walk around mansions in heels, talking fast with big commissions. There is so much more. It's very intricate, which if you've been following my series, you know a little bit about that or a lot about that.
So you can see that looks like Carrie probably just sitting in her master bedroom, grabbing her phone, hitting go, and sharing her lessons. Again, look at the number of views, the number of people that are checking in to find out what it is that she understands about real estate. And if you follow Carrie, who is phenomenal both as a real estate professional and in terms of her social media marketing and brand presence, you get to see all sides of her. Her with her new husband, congratulations, Eric, and their life and their travels and her new listings and her new sales and her out with her friends. She's being completely authentic. What you see is what you get. And then when you mix it in with those 16 lessons and her How's the Market show, you really get a sense for who she is as a business professional. Now, what's funny is people will inevitably say to me, Tom, I'm a little afraid to shoot videos because, what if I'm not as good looking like her, or I don't have that big personality, or gosh, what if they look at me and they don't like me? My response is always the same. I'd rather put out my most authentic self. So if someone doesn't like it, they find out before they call me. I don't want to meet with someone, be me, and have them say, I don't really like that guy, or I don't really like that gal. Now, you might say, but Tom, I'm so desperate, I want everyone to like me. Well, you might need a therapist because, listen, that never works out. We want to find our tribe. And that's what video does. See, just like you're watching this show with me, and this is a long show where I'm providing a lot of value. See, you and I, we've created this bond, right? You're in my tribe and I'm in yours. So you'll watch my stuff, gain the value you need, and go implement. The same thing will happen when you shoot your show. You're gonna find the people that know you, like you, trust you, even if they've never met you. And that's valuable. Let's take a look at what my longtime client Philip does up in Walla Walla, Washington. By the way, this was a blooper reel he put out, just to give you a little snippet of it, setting up season 2 of his show. Check it out.
Hi, Philip Provost, Coldwell Banker, First Realtors, and today we're in beautiful downtown Walla Walla for another episode of Walla Walla Wednesdays. Today we are meeting with...
Dude, really, come on.
It's cyclery?
Yeah. Cyclery.
Wow, dude, really. Wine Valley Comedy. Josh, Matt, Scott, Sim Div. Nope, that was awkward. All right. They're trying to catch us riding dirty. About this... Nope, it's not happening. I won't say her name. All right. Let's call it.
So that's 8 different examples. High quality, low quality, Candace, everything under the sun. The key is, I'm going to make the argument that at this point, to be competitive, to stand out, to really become that recognizable name brand and get it done at the level of consistency that we want, should hire a part-time videographer, that wedding videographer who one day a month, you show up, you put on 4 different outfits, and you shoot your shows, you let them do their magic, and then we do the second part, which is what I'm going to share with you now. How do we get that content out to as many people as possible and get as much search engine optimization, SEO juice, if you will, so you get more organic traffic and more people following you, and maybe, just maybe, like I've had 1 or 2 times, a show goes viral on YouTube. And man, is that exciting when that happens. I wish that for you. So let's talk about what we do. We call it multi-purposing every show. So here's what I wrote down. There's 4 or 5 different things you're going to want to do. The first one is every video you shoot, you're going to want to transcribe the video, which means we're going to take the text of everything you said and turn that into a written blog. There's 2 websites that'll do this for you. Rev.com, as you see there, rev.com, or speedscriber.com. These services will, again, transcribe your video, and then you can have that as something you post on your blog, on your website. You've certainly seen my blog at tomferry.com. If you haven't, take a look at it and you'll see the example where we post the video and then the written blog describing what's there. The power of that with SEO is unbelievable. Number 2, you want to get an audio for an audio podcast. Yes, you took the time to shoot the video. Why not, what they say is, rip the audio or export the audio file from your show and put it out on every one of the podcasting sites. We recommend you use PodBean to distribute that podcast on all of the different platforms, giving you as much reach as possible. And again, if you go to tomferry.com and you see the Tom Ferry Show, you're gonna see there's the video like you're watching now, there's the blog, the transcription, and oftentimes we'll link the audio file that people can listen to there as well, giving the customer the 3 different mediums they may enjoy, whichever's right for them, especially if they're in their car as an example, or they just want to read or watch a video. You give them all 3, plus your SEO is going to go through the roof, and that's what we want. Now, number 3, we say take snippets or video clips and add them to your Instagram. Now, if you're a longtime follower of me, you're now saying, wait a minute, this is exactly what we see you do. You shoot a show, Mindset Monday, and then you post it on Instagram. Right, it's also on YouTube. There's also an audio file. The Tom Ferry Show is on YouTube. It's on tomferry.com. Then we do a shorter version on Instagram to promote it with a link at the top to go back to the website. Are you seeing how this all plays out? This is exactly what we're doing to get the word out, and I want you to do the same. Now, pay real close attention today to having videos over 1 minute long, maybe your entire show, on IGTV. As of right now, Instagram is getting lots of extra, if you will, views for nothing just by posting it to IGTV. Clearly, Mark Zuckerberg wants to make this big, and you better jump on it now and take full advantage of it before the masses are there, because I have a feeling in the future we'll have to spend some money to get the kind of views we're getting today on IGTV. Number 4, I always recommend also quote cards. So let's say you're doing your How's the Market show or your behind the scenes show. It could be a photo of you and the mayor or you and your favorite restaurant owner or the person at the local pub, but there was something that he or she said that really stood out in the interview. That quote could be turned into a photo with a quote and posted on Facebook, Twitter, on Instagram as an example, putting it everywhere, also driving traffic back to the show, back to your videos. Does that make sense? So, long show, I know, but I've got some super important advice for you. I'm actually gonna have it put up on the screen. This is what I recommend and what we do as a company to make sure you've got a schedule for how you want to put the content out. So you can see there on Monday, someone is uploading the show to YouTube, you're preparing your blog, that's the text, and the video to be hosted on your website, and you're creating any and all hashtags. Remember, you can Google what are the best hashtags right now in my town, and you're gonna get all the answers. Remember, with hashtag strategies, you can't use the same hashtags every time. Instagram, Facebook, and everybody else will pick up on that, and you will not get the hashtag love. Then on Tuesday, we recommend you email your database the link to your weekly show. Does this sound familiar? I do the same thing. And then add it to your IGTV, the same exact show, right into IGTV on Tuesday. On Wednesday through Friday, you're gonna post additional clips, quotes, little snippets of videos. And again, as we're shooting this show, you can see between 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. gives you really good reach. On Instagram, sometimes 10 o'clock in the morning gives you really good reach, meaning more people will see it. You'll get more likes and more comments. It's important that you keep testing and going back to Google to find out what are the best times to post to get the greatest reach. And then on the daily, you can see my note there. Certainly you've seen this. If you follow me on Instagram or on Twitter or on Facebook, wherever you are, on YouTube, I am the one that's making those comments back. You know, it was once said to me, if you post a piece of content, post a video, a show like this, and somebody makes a comment and you don't respond, it would be like someone walking through a cocktail party, seeing you and saying, "Hey Sean, how's it going? You're doing great, man," and you doing this, and just walking away. I would argue my mother would say, that's pretty rude. So when people make comments, you need to plan to jump on there, engage, ask questions, even thank them, throw up some heart emojis, some of these, a little fist bump, a high five, some of this, but make sure that you comment back. If you comment back, you're now engaging your clients, your prospects, your friends, and you know what you're really doing? You're conditioning them on this is another way that you and I can be in conversation. Man, is that powerful. Now, we covered a lot of ground. I have no idea as I'm shooting this how long this video is gonna be. I'm guessing it's gonna be the longest Tom Ferry show ever. You're probably gonna wanna watch this 6 or 7 times. You're gonna wanna send it to your videographer and say, hey, I just watched this video, just do all of that, right? And boy, what a smart move that would be. If you're already at the end of this video and you're still saying to yourself, oh, I just don't know, Tom, I get it. I know you've been talking about video since 2009, and here we are in 2019, and I still haven't done it because, you know, what about my hair? And are my glasses, you know, do they look right? And, you know, what if my little mini me shows up wrong? And what if I don't like how it looks? And, you know, you're still in your head. I would just argue that what stops you from shooting video is what stops you from greatness in every area of your life. What stops you from shooting video stops you from greatness in every area of your life. Move beyond your limiting beliefs. Express yourself. Be your authentic self. Find your tribe. Shoot more videos. I don't care what your hair looks like or how your voice sounds. It doesn't make a difference because you know what? The customer's going to find out when they meet you, and it'd probably be good if they found out beforehand. Does that make sense? All right, so as we wrap this up, remember always, your strategy matters, and now more than ever, your passion absolutely rules only if you're shooting videos.